It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. You know what time it is. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday. Welcome back to our nightly newsletter. Today is Wednesday, the 4th of June, 2014. We have an exciting newsletter for you guys and gals this evening. Boy, it doesn't get much better than this, does it? We got some sloppy markets going into the ECB announcement tomorrow, but come on. Yesterday's newsletter, we talked about all the money we made on the Russell. Today, apparently, they're taking turns. We cashed some big paychecks today on crude oil. If you followed our advice last night on gold, wait. You could make money on gold? Yeah. You better stick around for that one, boys and girls, because you won't believe it when I show it. Unless, of course, you were watching last night's newsletter. We got an exciting report here for you this evening. We've got gold pushes lower. Russell grinds higher. Kind of a sloppy day on the Russell as traders were positioning ahead of tomorrow's news. But the big deal today was crude. Boy, crude gaps up and then look out below, tumbles down for incredible profit at the end of the session today. It was classic newsletter trading opportunities. So awesome trades on gold, crude, Russell a little bit sloppy. After we finish taking a look at what happened today, we'll then get ready for tomorrow. We'll take a look at what news we have on the schedule for tomorrow, and we'll roll up our sleeves and we'll get ready with some charts for tomorrow. So we'll start with what happened today. We'll take a look at the markets today. We'll prep for the news tomorrow, and we'll grab some charts and give you guys some strategies for whatever the scenario is that happens tomorrow. Welcome aboard, everybody. Before we get started, though, I do want to remind you here, if you're watching this video on our YouTube page, make sure you follow the link below the video here this evening, because that's going to take you over to our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. Now, besides having all this wealth of information here for free for students from around the world, our blog has 3 important things on it that I want you to be aware of today. First of all, to get the most out of this newsletter, you got to download all the charts. I take the time out of my evening every night. I upload all my charts over to a specific download spot so you guys can get your hands on the charts for tomorrow. So click on that link, download the charts for tomorrow. That way you've got them ready with you tomorrow morning when you're about to take your first trade. If you're with me in the trade room tomorrow, we're going to use these charts, which you can download right now. We're going to use these charts to know what our roadmap is tomorrow. That's right. We actually use the exact same material that I'm giving to you right now for free. I'm going to use that information tomorrow morning. And, well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a moment, but we have used it to make some incredible profit over the past few months. Second thing here. Upper left-hand corner, I want to offer you a free pass to come out and join me in my trade room. Take me up on this offer, guys. You're going to learn more in my trade room in one afternoon than you've learned in any other paid chat rooms you've ever been in. Take me up on the offer, upper left-hand corner, click on that link, free pass. All I need is your name and email address, and I'll send you an invitation to attend our live trade room tomorrow. Third thing. Head on down to my ugly mug down at the bottom there, and you can join our nightly newsletter list. Now, the nightly newsletter, of course, what you're watching right now, I'm going to send you an email, and I'm going to stick this newsletter right in your inbox every evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So don't delay. Head on over to sidewaysmarkets.com, download the charts below the video, join our free pass to attend our trade room, and don't forget to register for your nightly newsletter emailing list. All right, now you know what to do. Let's rock and roll. Roll those sleeves up here. First, let's start with crude. Now, at the beginning of the session today, we had a big gap up. Talk about what happened today on crude. Big gap up. You can see here we closed right on that prior week close in yesterday's session. We then gap up this morning, which basically means that between yesterday's close at 2:30 and this morning's open at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we had a change in prices, right? It results in a gap up. Now, this was classic because, of course, we had a sell zone that we had defined up top here in last night's newsletter. Don't take my word for it. You can go back and watch last night's report. You'll see exactly what it was. It was there 24 hours before time, right, before you needed it. So you can't say I didn't give you a heads up on that one, right? Been there for a few days this week. And so we end up right inside this 103. It was 103.30 to 103.58. And here in the trade room this morning, we're sitting there watching it grind higher, right? Inventories came out, pushing it higher, and we're sitting here going, oh, this is just too perfect. And then all of a sudden, I got into a trade right about here, right about there, and it just sat there for a little bit, wiggled around, and all of a sudden, look out below, it just tumbles. Of course, made my entire day off that move, and continued to sell this thing off into the afternoon session, all the way back down to where we finished yesterday. So last night gave you a tremendous selling opportunity here on Crude. If you took advantage of it, you cashed a big paycheck today on Crude, right? So easy ways to make money using our nightly newsletter, right? A free nightly newsletter, I might add. And so if you can see here, we had 116 ticks of range, pretty typical range. But boy, over the last few days, though, this is about 3 times the amount of range we've seen. So it's a healthy range for us today. We were loving life today. You'll notice, though, that we gapped up, we go higher, and then we close all the way back at the low. So think about the clues that we get at the closing bell today. Of course, we opened higher, but that doesn't matter because we closed right back at the lows. Volume, 102.75, right back at the lows. So if we thought there was a little bearishness in the market, you better believe it. Those bears are still in control. It's almost as if they let the buyers have some fun overnight, right? You had the inventory report last night. That came out bullish. Inventory number this morning at 10:30 came out remarkably bullish. What was it? Almost 4 million barrels of a draw. So a very bullish report today. But do you remember what I said last night? Does anybody remember what I said last night? Usually the reaction to the news is the opposite of what you want to do. Boy, I'll tell you, we might just be onto something here with this newsletter. Stick around, boys and girls. It's only getting better from here. So we saw news come out, push crude higher, and remember, we're hip with this. We know that usually the reaction to that news is usually the wrong direction. So of course it turns right around, but the big clues on this chart. We close right at the same previous week close. The volume is all the way back down. So as far as I'm concerned, we are still just as bearish as we were this time last night. We got a big news report tomorrow morning coming out of the ECB at 7:45. Then we got non-farm payrolls on Friday. The next 2 days are going to be really interesting to see what happens on crude. But I am still a bear here on this Texas tea, right? The black gold, the crude oil futures. Looking good, a fantastic day trading crude today. And I might add, it's about time, right? It's about time. We've been waiting patiently for crude to get to moving. Let's keep moving here. Moving from crude over to gold. We go from one sluggish market to another. Now we had a great opportunity to sell short on gold. I personally didn't trade gold today, but we had a fantastic opportunity off the newsletter, guys, last night. Just an incredible opportunity. We'll talk about that in a moment. We had a selling opportunity on gold last night. This morning, though, much of the same. We see another very narrow range here on the gold. Closing price today was pretty much the exact closing price yesterday. So that should tell you something right there. We did actually see a gap up, right? We actually opened higher, but we closed back lower, right? The volume is in the middle. It's pretty much sideways. We know right now on gold, besides that great selling opportunity up at 1294 or 1249, we know that gold is sideways right now. Why? Why is gold sideways? Because this big report coming out tomorrow. They're anticipating negative interest rates tomorrow from the ECB. And whenever we talk about interest rates, we've got to think about currencies. And whenever we think about currencies, you've got your safe haven play, right? Your shelter market, the gold futures. Trust me, this is not going to continue that much longer. We got ECB tomorrow. We got non-farms on Friday. I don't see this continuing much longer. But right now, all these traders, they're all kind of hanging on what's going to come out of the ECB tomorrow morning as far as it goes according to gold. So right now on gold, we're definitely still bearish. Okay, can't call this bullish, but for the most part, though, we are sideways, right? Sideways neutral with a slight bearish tone. Now, stick around because I'm going to show you the trade that we called last night on gold and show you how easy it's been this week to profit from this newsletter. So really difficult to peg where gold goes before we hear from the ECB tomorrow morning. But as you can see, though, very narrow range today, hovering right around the prior week close, the prior week low. And again, the big clue tonight, We closed today right at the same exact price. I mean, 44.4, the exact same closing print as we had yesterday. If that doesn't tell you balanced, I don't know what does. Moving forward here now, we've got our mighty mini Russell. Speaking of balanced markets, we've had this Russell has been in kind of analysis paralysis. It's really been just kind of suspended in air here for the past 2 weeks. You can see the last week's range was just as narrow. So here we are now. We got this week's range, although we moved a little bit lower. Very, very important to see here. We opened up at the lows. We closed at the highs. So clearly this is a little bit bullish, right? It's definitely not bearish. We definitely opened on the bearish side. In fact, we initially were speculating to see if we go lower, but we had that 200 moving average that was in our way off the daily chart, which I'll show you guys again in a moment. Stick around for that. I got some good strategies here for you guys in the Russell for tomorrow. But again, we closed in the highs. Now, initially, you might look at this and say, oh, we're definitely bullish, right? We closed near the highs. But think again. Look at all this cluster of levels we have here, right? You get the prior week's close, you get the prior week's open, and the prior week's low. Now, if you're a student of mine in my trade room, we talk about this all day, every day. We don't like to see price hanging around these dotted lines, right? Dotted lines on my chart. All my charts have the same dotted lines, right? The prior week high, the prior week low, the prior week open, and the prior week close. Those are 4 very sticky areas. Basically, if the traders on the Russell are not convinced of any direction, where are they going to go? They're going to go right where they finished last week. So whenever we're at the open or the closing prices, we know that the market is balanced. Okay, think about it. If we open up the session, we open up right here. I'm going to go out, I'm going to plot my opening, right, dotted line. Okay, so my dotted line's in the chart. Then what happens is the sellers try and push it lower. They quickly run out of gas, we get some higher lows, some higher highs, and we end back at the open. We then have the buyers try, right? The buyers will give it a try. Hey, let's go find some more buyers up top here. Oh, not so fast, right? Nobody wants to be a buyer, and we head back to the open. So when I find myself trading on top of either today's open, yesterday's open, yesterday's close, or last week's open or close levels, I try to sit on my hands. I don't usually try to trade when I'm around those dotted lines. Now, those dotted lines make for great profit targets, right? So if we found ourselves in a short position off the highs, right, a little double top, 2-step short, wave reversal, whatever the case may be, I will use that dotted line as a target. So dotted lines make excellent targets, but they really don't make for very good entry locations. And the reason being is because we have to assume that when we end up back at a dotted line, which of course is an open or a close or a prior week high or low, right? Not this week's high or low, prior week high or low, we know that we're pretty much balanced. Because we can assume if the buyers were really confident, we wouldn't be here right now. We'd be above the prior week high. If the sellers were really confident, we wouldn't be here right now. We'd be making lower lows. Remember, folks, price is king. Price is the truth. Nobody lies when they take their money out of their pocket and they put it in the market. All right? You can speculate all you want, but if you're going to put your money to work, you're not going to lie. And so we know when price is at the prior week low, we know the sellers, well, they're not very strong. We also know the buyers aren't very strong, right? We know it's balanced. So right now, a balanced market on the Russell, a relatively typical range day, 142 ticks, opened at the lows. That was bearish, but we didn't even get to the prior low of day at 16 even. We closed at the high, volume at the highs. But again, look twice on that. I'm not going to go ahead and call this bullish right now by any means. We've got all of this little cluster of the prior week open and close levels as well as the prior week low. If anything, right, we're balanced with the potential here to head back up to test that prior week high. All right, that would be where I would think we would go here if we end up bullish for tomorrow. But hold that thought, because we got some great strategies for you guys. Whether we go up, down, sideways, I don't care where we go, we get you guys covered for tomorrow. moving forward here now. Moving forward here. Let's start first by talking about what we have in the schedule for tomorrow. So we've got all this news, right, that came out today. We got a little bit of news tonight. But tomorrow, Thursday, June 5th, get ready for tomorrow now. Tomorrow, Thursday, June 5th, you can pretty much just forget about everything else. All eyes are on the ECB announcement tomorrow morning at 7:45. We got big problems with deflation right now, right? So costs of goods and services are going down as well as the value of their currency. So we have a big problem with deflation right now in the ECB, and that's what they're going to be tackling tomorrow morning at the ECB announcement. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a completely dead market personality until we get through, not the announcement tomorrow. Now remember, when we have an announcement like this is the same thing as our FOMC announcement, right? It's the same thing. It's the same type of deal where the ECB, right, the European Central Bank, just like our FOMC, our Fed, they're going to give the announcement at 7:45. Now the announcement will have a little bit of action to it, but I think you're going to see the most reaction is going to come after Draghi takes the microphone and does his press conference. That's where you're going to see the tradable action. And that usually happens around 8 to 8:15. So tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 8:15 a.m., be on the lookout. And that's usually going to come between, again, 8 o'clock and 8:15, and it may go until 8:45. So tomorrow morning, you can pretty much count on sitting on hands a little bit until about 8:30, 8:45. It'll probably be pretty rocky. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But typically, when we've been hearing about this for 2 weeks now, all right, we've been hearing about this darn ECB announcement, and I'll tell you right now, I'll bet most of us are sick and tired of hearing, oh, we're waiting for the ECB. Well, we got the ECB report. Oh, well, we're waiting for the ECB. Yeah, we get it. We get it. So tomorrow, finally, the day shows up. I couldn't tell you exactly what to expect, but we know it's going to be volatile because everyone has been sitting on their hands since basically since May. And so now we know tomorrow morning, 7:45, the announcement comes out. There will be some reaction to that then, but look for the tradable moves after about 8:30, 8:45, after the ECB press conference, all right, because they're going to start talking about answering questions, right, things like that. Then, of course, if anybody cares, we have jobless claims tomorrow morning at 8:30. So jobless claims tomorrow morning at 8:30, and those are the two big news numbers tomorrow. Now, here is the reality tomorrow. We've got early morning news at 7:45. Again, press conference 8:15, right, to about 8:45. That's gonna swallow up the jobless claims. In fact, if we don't even hear the jobless claims tomorrow, I'll bet nobody even notices. Okay, so tomorrow morning, all eyes are on the ECB. We're going to look at the jobless claims report at 8:30. Maybe we get a reaction to it, but it's probably all going to be blended together here, right? So what you can expect is after 8:45, that's when you're most likely going to start getting those tradable moves. And what I mean by tradable moves is that I can't trade a market going like this, right? It's impossible. It's not impossible, but the illiquidity, the lack of consistency just makes it undesirable for a professional trader. So we're not going to even bother with trying to trade that very volatile, ultimately dangerous market tomorrow morning. But after about 8:45, we should see some pretty good opportunities as traders are now jockeying their positions. They're now making speculative trades according to what came out at the 7:45 news report. And guys like me and people like you are going to be waiting for the markets to calm down a little bit. Now, we do have news from Canada tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Okay, so be ready for that. Not sure how much of a move we're going to get. Again, I think all eyes are going to be on that ECB, and I have a funny feeling that by the time we get to about 10:30, 10:45, all those bullets are going to be spent. I have a funny feeling because we have tomorrow's non-farm payroll number. I know, right? Oh, really? There's non-farm payrolls? I didn't even realize that. Yeah, we haven't heard a single thing about Friday's non-farm payroll number. We saw a very disappointing ADP employment number today, but that's about all we've heard about the employment situation, the non-farm payrolls on Friday. We'll talk more about that in tomorrow night's newsletter. But I have a funny feeling, though, we're probably going to end up spending all of our bullets tomorrow morning before about 10:30, 10:45. And then with the non-farm payrolls on Friday, don't be surprised if tomorrow afternoon, late tomorrow morning, slows down really drastically. So the moral of the story is be ready for very slow price action tonight and into tomorrow morning. Expect some very volatile markets from 7:45 to 8:30. At about 8:45, I'm crossing my fingers, things have slowed down a little bit. We started to even out, we found a trend, and we'll see some tradable moves tomorrow at 8:45. We get a little bit of news there at 10 o'clock. We got nat gas inventories at 10:30, balance sheet at 4:30. But again, I have a funny feeling tomorrow, after about 10:30, all eyes are now going to shift to Friday's non-farm payroll report. And remember, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow night, don't forget to tune back in again, and we'll talk more about preparing for the employment situation, right, the non-farm payrolls. So that's what we're dealing with there tomorrow morning on the news reports. Again, all eyes and ears on the ECB announcement tomorrow morning. They're calling for negative interest rates. How about that? Can't wait to hear what happens tomorrow morning. Now, moving here on to gold. Gold is going to be a major component for tomorrow's news reports. All right, you know gold hasn't moved all week, and so you got to expect this gold's going to most likely, well, this chart, this will probably be all chopped up tomorrow afternoon. All right, so we want to be, well, this is a daily chart, maybe not that bad on this chart, but you get the picture. It's going to be a mover tomorrow morning. We're sitting right on this major support right now on gold, 1240.2. That chart is not as useful though as this chart here. So depending what happens tomorrow on gold, I've got sell zones overhead, 77.7, right, 1300. I've got support down here at 35.5. I've got support here at 1227.3. Very difficult for me to anticipate what direction we go in tomorrow. So if we trade, well, hold on one second. Let me give you a little bit more accurate. If we go sideways here, all right, we go sideways, we're sitting on hands. We go lower here, of course, our target's going to be down at 1227. If we go higher, we could, of course, buy these things with a target up at 1277 and then look for the short afterwards. Let me give you a more accurate chart, though. That's a pretty long-term chart. We may not see those levels get hit tomorrow. Here's my fastest anchor chart here on gold. Now, if you remember from last night, we gave you guys these exact selling opportunities here at 1249.6. So as you can see, literally to the tick, tags that 1249.6, and then now is heading towards our seller's target down at 1240.2. So be aware, I've got targets below me at 40.2 and 36.9. We're definitely bearish here on gold. I've got 3 sell zones. Just remember though, tomorrow morning, if you're trading gold tomorrow, just be aware, when that news comes out tomorrow at 7:45 a.m., we may just blow right through these areas. So please remember, these are not just blind sells. What we do is we use these areas as reversal points, and then we look for the entry pattern to get into the trade after we reverse off it. All right? If you're putting a resting limit order there, yeah, it worked last night, it worked today, but it's not going to work enough, right? Not enough consistency there. So if we just take off to the upside, you've got to wait for the reversal off of it to use these levels for tomorrow. So bottom line, while it's moving volatile tomorrow, I assume it will because it's gold and we're talking about rates tomorrow morning. So when we hear from the ECB tomorrow, be careful. These levels may not hold. Let it calm down a little bit before you go trying to get to trading tomorrow if you're watching any market. But definitely gold is one to be on our radar. So sell zones here, 49.6, 50.9, and 56.9. You got 6 locations there on the way up to sell short. If we do end up going lower, I do not want to sell short into this support zone, but I will be selling here on the way down to that seller's target. If we go sideways, we sit on our hands. So as always, what do we do if price rises? We wait to sell at the zones. What do we do if price falls? We get short using our seller's targets as our profit targets. If price falls, I'm not selling directly into this support level, but I will be looking for wave patterns short following that trend. And if price goes sideways, we're sitting on hands. We'll find that sideways range. we'll buy the lows, and we'll sell the highs, just like we're doing right now. All right, guys? So now you know what the plan is for gold. Tune in tomorrow morning in our live trade room, and we'll go over how this thing turns out tomorrow morning in real time. Don't forget, guys, we take all of these charts, we open them up in our trade room tomorrow morning, and we put together our plan of attack. If you want to get real-time updates, if you want to be able to trade this along with me, just come out and join me tomorrow in the trade room, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, over to the mighty mini Russell. The Russell, as I've been saying all week, has a very difficult job in front of it here this afternoon. It's got a very difficult job. You can see we got this trend line as resistance. We got the 43.6 as resistance, the 12 even as support. We've got the key moving averages, one above, one below. I probably sound like a broken record because I've been talking about this all week long. This is something we've got to be aware of. Range-bound market on the Russell right now, and this is definitely why. You can see we're stuck. We got long-term and short-term colliding here in the same spot. We're stuck. Hopefully tomorrow morning, that ECB announcement will get us unstuck. If not, it'll be Friday's non-farm payrolls. Moving faster here now to an 89 anchor, and you can see on this chart now, again, much of the same. We got that trend line coming down from the top. I've got 43.6 above. I've got 12 even below. And the big thing here is you can see we've got all of our key moving averages are literally right around the 1120, 1121, right, 1123 area. So very range bound, very balanced, and again, we got that tight range there. You can see on our 89 anchor. Moving forward here now, how do we trade this baby? Now today, we watched this Russell push higher right into our 1130.6. So as of right now, we are just an inch or two here, you can see, off that sell zone at 30.6. So we've been talking about this all week. We want to sell the 30.6, sell the 39 even, and of course our profit targets will be below us, 15.3, 10.2, 12 even, and 1104.1. I'm also going to be using the 21.3 as an easy profit target for the shorts. So as you go lower, right, this of course testing our area here. One more time, like I said earlier, these levels may get broken down tomorrow morning. If this thing really starts moving, again, we're going to wait for price to test the area. Once it starts to react and go lower, then we know we got them. Then we find that wave pattern short with a target down here at 15.3. So two locations here to sell short on the Russell. If we go higher, I'm looking for selling opportunities. If we blow right through these, I'll then follow that new trend, buying pullbacks, and we'll be, of course, following the new trend after the news comes out tomorrow. If we go sideways, if we trade sideways, I'm going to mark up the highs and the lows. I'm going to buy the lows and sell the highs. If we go lower here, we will start selling once again. This is close, right? We haven't tagged the 30.6 yet, but we are definitely close. If we do roll over here, though, we are still in a downtrend. I will be looking for shorts. So price goes sideways, I'm buying lows, selling highs. Price goes higher, I'm looking for shorts at the two sell zones. If it just blows right through it because of the news tomorrow morning, then we'll have to reassess that in real time in our live trade room. If we go lower, I'm selling short here because of our long-term bearish trend here. All right, now you know the plan here for the Russell. And again, be careful tomorrow morning around that 7:45 to 8:30, 8:45 time frame because it will be a little bit chaotic tomorrow morning. Moving on here now over to our crude oil futures. Daily chart on crude, we can still see we're kind of stuck in the mud here. We got this bullish price wedge, as you can see here, kind of a bullish flag, bullish pennant, whatever you want to describe it as. Most important thing we can see here, though, is we are right inside of that range. We got highs up top at 110, lows down bottom at 89. We're right tucked in the middle of that range here right now on crude. Moving faster here now, you can see we have the same zones we've had all week. Now be ready for this tomorrow, guys. Because right now we are within striking distance of this 101.45. It's only $1.50 away from where we are right now. So we get a little bit of opportunity here $1.25. We get a lot of opportunity tomorrow. If we tumble lower, I'll be looking for profit targets at 101.45, and then we're going to look and see if we get some bulls entering the market, and I'm looking to buy that low again. So if we go lower, I'm looking to buy the 101.45, 99.59. If we go higher, we got plenty of room to the upside. I'll be buying pullbacks. If we go sideways, I'll mark the highs and lows, buy lows, and sell highs. Moving forward here, now we're talking. Remember, there was a 103.58. There was where we got the short this morning, right? That was where we got that big short here this morning. And we're on our way down here now. That seller's target at 101.87. So it looks like crude is still selling off here this evening as I speak. When I zoom in a little bit closer now you can begin to see more about what our plan of attack is right now. I've got support down here, my seller's target. Again, we called this short last night. The short is still in play. 101.87 my target, 101.44 my target, and then we run right into our buy zone here at 101.44 to 172. Amazing how quickly things can change. We are bearish here on crude. I'm looking to sell short. So as we go lower, I'm selling short right now with a target at 101.87, target at 101.44. If we go sideways, I'm going to mark the highs and the lows of the sideways range. I'm going to buy the lows and sell the highs. And of course, if we go higher, I'm looking for selling opportunities here at this trend line. I'm looking for selling opportunities here at the 103.99 and 104.23. So we expect price to keep going lower here in the overnight session on crude. I will continue to look for selling opportunities on the way down. If we trade sideways, which is definitely a possibility going into the news tomorrow morning, if we trade sideways ahead of the news tomorrow or ahead of Friday's non-farm payrolls, we then know we're going to be buying lows and selling highs, treating it as a sideways range. If we go higher, we're looking to sell the highs of this price wedge, right, which we kind of just recently defined there, that price wedge, and then we got 103.99 and 104.23 for our sells on the way back down. All right, guys and gals, so now you know what to expect for tomorrow. All right, unless you've been living under a rock the past 3 or 4 weeks, everybody knows about this ECB announcement tomorrow morning, 7:45 a.m. Between 7:45 and 8:45, you got to be careful tomorrow. There's probably going to be some very drastic moves. There may not be. We'll have to wait and see, right? Can't predict it. We know that gold is bearish. We know that Russell is bearish. We know that crude is bearish right now. All right, so you know your spots for tomorrow. We've got the plan ready for tomorrow. Before I let you guys go, I do want to remind you here, if you head over to SchoolOfTrade.com, we offer 3 levels of membership: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We offer lifetime memberships, no monthly fees, no nickels and dimes for indicators. Once you're a student for life, and you get unlimited access to all of our materials, including all future updates. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, offer a free trial. Guys, you're going to learn more in that free trial than you're going to learn in most other paid membership courses. I promise you that. I will not disappoint you on that, guys. Check out the free trial, and don't forget to share this information with a friend. All right, guys? Got a big, exciting session for us tomorrow. We've had a fantastic week so far. We've made money on Russell this week, gold this week, crude this week. Hope you guys are making money right along with us. My name is Joseph James. My wife Megan and I, we created SchoolOfTrade.com over 10 years ago to be something different, right? To be the place where new traders, experienced traders, can learn and earn in a safe and productive environment. I want to thank you for tuning in this evening. Don't forget to download all my charts on the blog, and we'll see you guys same time, same place tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. or come out and join me tomorrow morning in my live trade room at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Signing off now from our corporate headquarters in sunny Los Angeles, California. We'll see you guys here same time, same place tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.